In this tutorial, we will build an authentication system with React. So this is the site that we will build. It shows you are not logged in, and we can register our user. So let me register one user right now, test. Email will be test@test.com and the password is test. When I register the user, I will redirect to the sign-in form, where here I can write the email that I just created and the password that I just created, and I can go to the main page where I show hide test. So test is the name, and I have a logout button here where I can log out. So this is the authentication that we will build. Also, something to mention is that we will use HttpOnly cookies. So once we log in, we'll generate this cookie that shows that we are logged in. Once we remove it, we are logged out. So if you want to see how to make this page, follow this tutorial. Before building the app, I would like to remind you that this video is meant to be combined with other videos. So if you want the backend of this app to be in Laravel, Django, Deno, Nest.js or Go, check the links in the description. If you don't want to build a backend, don't worry, I have a solution for you. Now I will show you how to build a backend without actually building it. So if you already built the backend, you can skip this part. If you don't want to build it, then first, before I explain this repository, download Docker. So go to docker.com products Docker desktop and download the right version for your machine. I already did it and I have here an icon on top. So in order to build a backend, you have to install Docker. Now this repository is just a simple docker compose.yaml file. You can copy this file, you can download the code, you can do anything. In my case, I will just copy the code and I will do a git clone. So I will open my terminal and I will write git clone this repository. So now that is downloaded, let's go to the folder Auth API is called, and you have Docker installed. Run docker compose app. And now Docker will pull all the images and download all the files, and it will build the backend for you. Now let's wait till it's completed. Now it's completed. So we are almost finished. Now I will type Control C, Command C to close the containers, and we need one last command. So first I will do a docker compose app but -d, so we don't want to see the logs here. So with this command now we don't see anything, so we can clear it. It doesn't show anything. And let's run this last command. This will build the database. So everything is built. Now we can access localhost port 8000. And this is our backend running on port 8000. Now we will consume this API by building our app. Now to install React, make sure you have Node.js installed. If you have Node.js installed, open a terminal and write this command: npx create React app. Now we need the name of the app. I will call it React Auth, and I will add template TypeScript. I like to use TypeScript on my projects. Now let's wait till it's completed. So the project is created. Now let's go to the folder and run npm start. React will run on port 3000, localhost port 3000. So this is our running React app. Now I will open the project with my IDE. Also, I will close the terminal here. So let's use it directly in my IDE here. npm start. So nothing has changed. Now I will delete the test file and let's add the template for our project. So let's go to getbootstrap.com, go to get started first, and let's add the bootstrap link to our index.html. I'll add it here. So we added bootstrap. Now let's add a template. So the template that we want is this sign-in form here. Let's inspect or view page source better. And here I will copy the div here, the main div, and I will add it to app.tsx. So I'll paste it here. So I'll keep the class name up here. Now it's complaining because some tags are not closed. I'll make some changes. I'll remove the image here. I will add a closing tag here for the input. I will remove all the labels. I will remove this also and this. So this needs also a closing tag. Also make sure to change class to class name. So these are class here and I change it to class name. My IDE automatically does it. If yours doesn't, make sure to change it. This now will look like this. Still is not looking good. We still have to add the styles here. So go to signin.css here, copy all the code and add it to our app CSS. I'll paste it here, save it. So it looks a little bit better. So let's remove this body and HTML styles here. And now it looks better. So this is not a CSS tutorial. So if you want to learn CSS, you can watch other tutorials. I will cover only the authentication part here. Now here in the form, let's remove this ID here and this autofocus. I want to keep everything really simple. And this won't change anything. So it doesn't. Now I want to add here a menu so we can navigate to different pages. So go again to getbootstrap.com examples. And here I will get a navigation menu. So which one is the simplest? I will pick this navbar static. I'll view the page source here and I will copy the navigation here. And I will paste it here on top. So still we need to close the tags that are not closed. So we have a form here with a button. So let's close first the input here. And let's remove this tab index. And I guess we don't have any problems. So don't forget also to change the class with the class name. So this is our menu now. Let's remove some stuff. We don't need this button. So we just need, I will name this home here. Also I will remove this form. And for the list items here, I'll keep only one. So I will remove the classes here. And this will be login. And I will add another one for the register. So what is missing that is complaining? Maybe I forgot to close the UL here. So it's working fine. Now let's split this into components. So I'll create a directory. Actually I will call it pages. And the pages that we want is the login.tsx. So TSX is the version of JSX, the TypeScript version of JSX. So I'll create here a component. I have a shortcut for creating a component, so you should write it yourself if you don't have that shortcut. Let's add the HTML here and this login form. So I'll cut this and I will add it to the login TSX. For the moment, I will just add here login. Make sure also to import it because my IDE does it automatically. And I will create a new component called navigation. So components, I'll call it nav. So this is a TSX file also. I'll cut this code and I will paste it. So let's create the component. I'll paste it here. The navigation, so I will add it like this. It doesn't work, so I will import it. So nothing has changed, so I'll close the other tabs. And now let's add other pages and let's add a router so we can move to other pages. So we need a register. So I'll just name it register for the moment. And another page called home. Home here. So let's add them, these pages here, but we cannot replace them because we have to add another package. So let's install it, npm install React Router DOM and the TypeScript version, so React Router DOM. Every time you install a package, the TypeScript version has @types in front of it. So the package now is installed. Now let's use it. So let's change this login here to browser router. Import also browser router from React Router DOM. And to add the pages, we have to add route. We need to import also route here. And this has a path. So the main page, so just slash will be the home component. So here we'll add home. So import also home here. Slash login will be the login component. And slash register will be the register component. Let's see if it works. So we have home here, so we are the home component. Now we cannot move because we haven't made the links work, but we can go to other pages with login here. We can see the login page, but we see home here. Why do we see home there? Is because the path matches the path with the register here. And if we want to distinguish, we have to add here exact. So this is the exact path. And now we don't have home there. Register, also that works. So every component has been rendered. Now let's add the links to the navigation. So we have to change this anchor links right now to links from React Router DOM. So import link from React Router DOM, and this will point to the main page. Let's change also these other parts. So this will point to /login, and this is linked to /register. Let's see, and we get an error. There is that you should not use links outside a router. So the error is because the navigation is outside the browser router, and we can fix that by moving the browser router here and using the navigation inside. And now everything is correct. We can navigate to other pages. Now let's complete the register, because we have to register first so we can log in. Now let's go to the register, and the form will be similar with a login, and I will paste it here. Please register, and this is submit. The register form has an email, has a password, and also has a name, just a name. So name, email, and password. I kept it really simple, so this is the register form. Now let's make this form work. First, we have to, for every input, we have to get a variable, and we have to use the state for every variable. So we have to get here the name, set name is equal to use state, and the inside is the default value, which will be an empty string. So this is how we handle state in React. The first is a variable, and the second one is an actual function that changes this variable. So I will add two other states. One is for the email, and this is set email here, and the last one is password, set password. So where do we use these variables? So let's use the functions first, and we will use the functions once we change the input. So we will add here a listener on change, and what will happen when we change the input? We'll fire an event, and we will set the name to event.target.value. So every time we change the name, we will set the name here. We will use the function. Let's do the same for the other inputs. Set email, and this is set password. So we set all the variables. Now we need to submit the form. So we have an onSubmit function here, and let's create a function called submit, and we will use it here. So this function accepts an event, and since we are in TypeScript, we have to define the type of this event, and is a type of synthetic event. So don't forget also to import it. When we submit a form, it usually refreshes the page. So in our case, I will just show it to you. I will console log here the name, the email, and the password. So I'm keeping this short because this is the same as name and the name variable, but since they are the same, I can use it directly like this. And let's see if we console log here. So submit. So we saw a console log here, but the page was refreshed, and to prevent that, we have to add event.prevent prevent default. And now if we try to login to register, we console log the actual values. So now we have to use these values and to send it to our backend. So I will cut this and let's send a request to the server using fetch. First I will make this function asynchronous, and to get the response from the server is equal to await fetch. We have to pass here the endpoint, which is HTTP localhost port 8000 /API/register. So this is a GET request, but we have to make it a POST request. We have to add here the method, which is POST. And we have to add also the body. And the body is the JSON that we cut, but we have to make it to a string. So JSON stringify, and we will paste the values. We need also a header, so headers here, and the header that we want to send is content type application JSON, and that's it basically. So the content is equal to await response JSON, and let's log the content here. So let's see what the server does return to us. So I still have the form here. I will try to console log, submit, and we created a user right now. So the response was successful. And what do we want to do once we successfully register a user? We want to redirect to the login. So we'll remove all this and add another state here. So first, to redirect, we have to use redirect. We need to import it also. Redirect from React Router DOM, and we have to return it. Redirect to login. So this is the way we redirect. And as we can see, we are at the login page, but now we cannot go to the register because we automatically redirect. So we have to add a condition here. If I'll create a variable, just like the other variables, this will be redirect, and set redirect is equal to use state, and the default state will be false. So by default, if redirect, we won't redirect because it is false. And now we can stay to the register page. When we want to redirect is when this fetch has finished. So here we will set redirect to true. With this, once we register with another user, test.com, and now I am at the login page. So now let's log in. Go to the login page, and just like the register, I'll get the email and the password here, and I will paste them here. Also, when they change, so on change, we want to set the email to event.target.value, and same for the password. Set password. Now we need to submit the form. On submit here, let's create the submit function. Submit, and this will have an event which is a synthetic event and event.prevent default here. So everything is correct. Now we need to send a request to the login. So I will copy this, I'll paste it here, and the endpoint, so make this asynchronous. The endpoint now is API/login, and we don't have the name, so that's it. So we need to send the email and the password, but this is not enough. So we can send the credentials and they will be correct, but we need to get the cookie from the server. To get the cookie from the server, we need to add another configuration, another option, which is credentials to true. It's not true, it's include. So with this, when we log in, we will get the cookies from the backend. So let's see it. In the application now, we don't have any cookies, and let's try to log in. 8a.com. As we can see, we generated a cookie which is HTTP only. So the request was successful. We got the message here, but we don't do anything to set it to the cookies. So we just send the request and nothing more. But since we have these credentials include here, it means that we will get this cookie now in every request. And this is a cookie that we need to use to our home to get the authenticated user. So just like the register right now, when we log in, we want to redirect. So I will copy and paste the same thing, and we want to redirect to the main page here and set redirect to true. So let's try to log in again, and we are at the home page. Here we want to display the user. So let's here we need to call the user, and since we don't have anything, we have to use another function which is use effect. So here we need to call the backend, and I will do it like this. Since use effect doesn't accept async functions, so this is not allowed, and we have to call the backend. I would like to make my function asynchronous, and I want to do it like this. So this is short for executing this asynchronous function here. So I like it like this, and you can use a different way of calling the backend. And I'll copy this, send it to the home. Now we don't want to send a post request, and this method is get. By default is get, and this will be user here. And that's it basically. Now let's see if our request will get the user. So we get the authenticated user here. We just the request will get the user. We don't send anything, just a get request. And everything is gotten from this cookie here. And let's, before test the cookie, I want to set the name here. So we'll create here a variable name and set name. And I forgot, this is use state. By default is empty string. Here we'll say hi name. So when we get the user here, we'll get a response, and the content is equal to wait response.json, and the content in this case is our user. So we'll set the name to content.name. Let's see if this works. Hi A. So this is our user that is authenticated. I will make a question mark here for A. So I'll do it like this. If A is set, we will say hi with the name. Otherwise, we will say you are not authenticated or login. So we have hi A here. If we remove the cookie, I will clear it. We get you are not logged in because we don't have the cookie and the response is throwing an error. So we have to log in again. And now we show the name again here. Now the last thing that is left to change is the logout. Here for the login and the register, when we are logged in, we want to show the logout button. But there is a problem here because we get the user here on the home component and the buttons are in the nav component. So how do we fix this problem? This problem will be fixed if we move this function. I will move it, so I will also get the set names to the app.tsx because this app here will contain all the other components. So I will paste it here. So we will get the user here and we will set this user to the home component. The way to do it is by extracting this home component to a function, and we will call it like this, home, and we will set the name is equal to this name. So this name now is a property. We have to access it via props here. And since it is TypeScript, props need to be defined with a type, and this will have a name which is a string. So we added the props here, and what is left is to use the props like this. So props.name and props.name here. So nothing has changed, and also this component doesn't have any errors. So this is how we pass values via the props. So these props will be the same in the nav. So we need to pass the same props. And in the app.tsx, we'll pass here the name as a name here. So if the name is empty, we will show these values. So let's add a condition here. I'll make a menu, and this menu, if the name is empty, not name that but props.name, then the menu will be similar to this one. So by default, if the user is not logged in, we'll display this HTML. If the user is logged in, so we have an else here, then the menu is equal to, I'll still copy this because I need the styles, but I will remove this, and now we need a link to login, but this will be a logout function. And now we can see logout here. Now let's make this logout work. So we have to add here an on-click. and let's create a logout function. So where should I create it? I'll create it here on top, and this function I'll call it here like this. So we have to call again the backend. So this is a post request also. I'll copy this, paste it here. This is an asynchronous function. This doesn't have to have a synthetic event. We don't have to send the body because we don't want to send data. And the function, the endpoint is logout. And that's it. When we send this request, we will clear our cookie. And since we link to login, when we click logout, we will get redirected also to login. So we will do two things at once. Let's log out, and we are at the login page. If we go there, we still see our name and logout here, but if we refresh, everything will be normal. But why this is happening? Also when we log in, the same thing happens. So I will see the cookies here, a@a.com here, a. So we got the cookies, but still it says no, you are not logged in. And the only way to show it is by refreshing. So the login and the logout work totally fine. There is still a minor change that we have to make. So when we log out, we have to tell the other components that we are actually logged out. And I will do it the same with this name. And now when we log out, we have to emit an event to the other components. And I will add another prop here. I'll call it set name. And this is a function that returns void and accepts a name as a string. So once we finish the logout here, we will set the name, props, sorry, set name to empty. And that's it. So what did we do right now? So now in our app.tsx, we'll need a function set name, and it will send an empty string. So we want to set the name. So we have another set name function here, set name, and this will work the same. So when we log out, we successfully log out, but we don't reset the name to an empty string here. So that is the solution. So we have to reset the name right here. And when we log in, we have to do the same. So we have to set the name. So let's first test the logout. So now we have the JWT. Let's log out. And now immediately we can see login and register here. So we successfully logged out. But when we log in, still we have the same problem that you are not logged in. So let's emit a set name also from the login. Let's go to the login, and we have to emit the same thing again here, and we have to get the response, and the content is equal to await response.json, and let's emit the event. So the props here, I'll copy it from the navigation. So let's go to the login. We'll have props that this will have a function that will set the name like this. Props here, set name, content.name. And that's it. And in the app.tsx, we have to use it just like home here. Not name actually, is it name? Not home, sorry, is login. The function is set name, and we will call set name. So I made a mistake somewhere, and we have to close it. So let's try to, so everything is correct right now. Logout, we don't see here the name. Let's log in. So we didn't redirect, but we see the login and everything works fine. Maybe we should change the order here. Logout ata.com, and everything works fine. So we completed our login register, and this is how login works in React. So thank you for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.